everybody, it's great to be back here again tomorrow. It's Friday, Parashat Vayikra. It was a very, very difficult week we had, and it ended great, thank God, of receiving our dear friends Rachel and David Stern returned home. A miracle that they survived a terrible terrorist attack, and wow, it was so special to be there to greet them, to come home, and the whole community out there. We were dancing, and there were flags, and it was just so special to be there. And I should maybe post some of those clips that were fascinating, just to see that, to experience that. And this portion is in their honor. This week's portion, I want to give a quick message. I saw a very interesting class by Rav Zaga, and he mentions a couple of points where I'd like to bring down some of these points, because the greatest problem we have is relating to sacrifices. One of the hardest. People read the book of Genesis, beautiful stories. We read Shemot, stories. Beginning about the tabernacle gets a little more difficult. And then all of a sudden, the book of Leviticus, Vayikra, oh my goodness, people go crazy. What are all these sacrifices all about, and all kinds of laws? That some of them are very, very difficult. And here we have to realize that the custom is when you're teaching children and you're teaching them for the first time, we always begin with the book of Leviticus Vayikra. There's a lot of purity, very special purity when it comes to the simpleness of a child being so simple, so beautiful, so tmimim, as we say in Hebrew, and teaching them the book of Leviticus, which is the Holy of Holies. And we have to understand a little bit. I just want to bring a couple of these points that Rav Zaga mentioned some of these points, and I'd like to try to stress a few of them and present them to you. And so if we look at Moed Nevuchim, the guide to the perplexed, we ask, why sacrifice? What's the whole reason the Torah, God commands us to do such divine service? And so he answers, the Rambam in Moed Nevuchim, he says, because Israel was involved in idol worship, so the whole world was involved in idol worship. So it's sort of a deprogramming, so taking that idol worship and deprogramming those who worship the idols and making it, focusing on divine service. And that's the one hand. On the other hand, the Rambam writes in Me'ilah, chapter 8, in Mishneh Torah, what does he write in his book on Jewish law called Mishneh Torah? He writes that the sacrifices of the world stands on sacrifice. And sacrifice are some of the things that we call them the chukim, that we have no understanding of what's behind them, because they're beyond our understanding. So it seems to contradict, but the Rambam in the introduction to the guide, he says right away that there will be things that will be contradict in his writings. And those who really understand what he means will be able to untangle those questions and see that he's hinting to very, very deep things within Jewish faith and understanding. And Rav Kook, in Shmona Kvatzim, he has a beautiful description where he describes what it is to see the Beit HaMikdash, and in other areas as well. And he explains in a fascinating way how he resolves this problem of the Rambam. How does he resolve the problem? He explains that we know that idol worship sits on imagination. Imagination is an important faculty of our nefesh, right? Our souls, our low-level soul, where it assists the intellect to make all kinds of pictures and put things together. But on the other hand, imagination is where people can be lost in their imagination, a wild imagination, and go wild. That's what idol worship is all about. They go over into, they totally get tangled up and pulled away into all kinds of very, very far away fantasies, which lead to total breakdown of ethical values, etc. And it sits within the imagination. That's where idol worship dwells, and idol worship causes tremendous separation and pirud amongst human beings, because they basically believe in multiple gods. They separate from the oneness, the unity of the universe. And that's, of course, in a quick summary. And on the other hand, Rav Kook, when he explains, he's saying that this is exactly what the sacrifices come to rectify, is that there's imagination that's way above, that's above our intellect, that connects to prophecy, that brings down the prophetic messages. And that highest spiritual level of imagination that reaches the highest ascents, that is what we bring about through the service within the temple. Can you imagine, the Rav Kook writes, when everyone's there and they hear the Levites singing and they see the priests making the offerings, they are totally become filled and energized with spiritual lights. They experience what the prophets experienced when they're able to see their great visions. And this is all, Rav Kook writes, is through when there's a Malchut Beit David, when there is a house of David, and Israel is working properly with all its functions. And the world is involved in worrying about their financial survival and the security of survival, which any country has to worry about, including Israel. But there's something that way beyond that, and that goes way beyond all this materialism, and that is the temple. That is our Beit HaMikdash. And when we totally focus on our divine service in the temple, we are witness to the priests in the temple offering and out in the Levites singing, we are connecting to the highest levels of holiness in the world. Uniting all of the universe together is becoming unified. From the domain, from the very, very domain referring to the salt, we know things that are just, that have not plant life, and then the plant life, of course, and the animal life. And with the person, Adam, it says, man, when you will bring a sacrifice, Adam, what does Adam refer to? It brings us back, when I think about Adam, as it opens up in the verse, when a man brings a sacrifice to God, it brings us back to Adam Rishon, the first man, when God created man in his image. And it says, B'tselem Elokim, God created us with B'tselem in his image. And what Hashem wants man to do, to rectify the world, is to unify all of his creation, to realize, Ein od milvado, there is nothing but God in the world, and everything comes from Hashem in this world. And our lives, sometimes they seem to be ripped apart with so many things, pulling in different directions, but we want to unify it, and the temple is a place of unification, to unify the divine service, to unify everything through the divine service, and we will experience the divine light will shine upon us. Idol worship pulls the other way. And it was only when we have our temple standing and the kingdom of David standing, we have the beautiful gift of prophecy in the divine service when that happens. But throughout now, for a couple of thousand years, we've been pulled and severed away from that. Now we're returning to the land. And these forces of dimyon, of this imagination, I want to add, unfortunately, are again showing their face. Because now, they're trying to prevent us from that great skip forward, that stride forward of building out their temple. So the idol worship forces are coming together, which want to bring about division amongst Israel and create all kinds of problems in the world. They're coming now at this time when David is going to show his face. We are going to build another stage of our redemption process. And that's exactly, I think, I want to do this in the honor of David and his wife Rachel, is that the simplicity of that beautiful couple that made Aliyah, that moved to Israel, with such love for the land in their hearts, to build a country where we will be able to be blessed and witness, God willing, the building of our third temple, and see how families grow and thrive in the land. They want to build a family and be part of the great process of redemption, which God is showing us His grace. And this is what they represent, and this is what those terrible people that want to murder in the name of God, instead of bringing life in the name of God, they want to do the opposite. They want to give out candies when people are being murdered and killed, instead of rejoicing in beauty and peace and unity. And this is really the war. It's a spiritual war that we have to bring about our unity, our love to God, to humanity in the world, which will overcome all these dark forces that want to destroy, and they want to bring a great shade and dark clouds over the beautiful light. And we have to build. They destroy, we want to build, and we will build, and we will merit, God willing, and seeing beautiful things to come. Blessings, Shabbat Shalom to you all. Shalom, Shalom.